The Kinsman Redeemer, Part 5. Genesis 9, verse 5-6 says, "And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man. If a beast killed a man, the beast would be killed. If a man murdered another man, the murderer's life would be taken. However, the slain man's brother, his kinsman, executed the punishment." Exodus 20, verse 13 says, "Thou shalt not kill." The Hebrew word ratzak means to dash in pieces, to kill a human being, especially to murder, to put to death, kill, man, slay, murder. Exodus repeats the commandment found in Genesis 9, verse 5-6. Deuteronomy 19, verse 10-13 says that innocent blood be not shed in thy hand, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. And so blood be upon thee. But if any man hate his neighbor, and lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally that he die, and fleeth unto one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Thine eye shall not pity him, but thou shalt put away the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with thee. The English transliteration of the Hebrew word for avenger is Gaal, the same word used for kinsman redeemer. Numbers 35:15-25 says, "These 6 cities shall be a refuge, both for the children of Israel, and for the stranger, and for the sojourner among them, that every man that killeth another person unawares may flee thither. And if he smite him with an instrument of iron, so that he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. And if he smite him with throwing a stone, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Or if he smite him with an hand weapon of wood, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. The revenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer. When he meeteth him, he shall slay him. But if he trust him of hatred, or hurl at him by laying of wait, then he die. Or in enmity smite him with his hand, that he die. He that smote him shall surely be put to death, for he is a murderer. The revenger of blood shall slay the murderer, then he meeteth him. But if he trust him suddenly without enmity, or have cast upon him anything without laying of wait, or with any stone wherewith a man may die, seeing him not, and cast it upon him, that he die, and was not his enemy, neither sought his harm. Then the congregation shall judge between the slayer and the revenger of blood according to these judgments, and the congregation shall deliver the slayer out of the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall restore him to the city of his refuge, whither he was fled, and he shall abide in it until the death of the highest priest, which was anointed with the holy oil." Numbers 35:31-33, 30-31, and 33 says, "Whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses. But one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die. Moreover, ye shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death, but he shall be surely put to death. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are. For blood, if defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Murder pollutes the land, and it can only be cleansed by shedding the blood of the murderer. A ransom can never replace execution, because it leaves the land polluted. The Hebrew word Gaal refers to the next of kin as the avenger of blood for his murdered relative. These three words, avenger of blood, are almost always linked together in Scripture. The idea is that it must be the next of kin that affects the payment, and the lost life of the relative must be paid for by the equivalent life of the murderer. The kinsman is the avenger of blood. How did Jesus fulfill this responsibility as our blood avenger? Satan led Adam and Eve into sin that resulted in death. When Satan successfully deceived Eve and she ate of the fruit, she gave it to Adam. Adam ate it, and thus mankind died spiritually and physically. All future humans resided in Adam's loins, and his seed carried a sinful heritage. Satan caused Adam's death. Jesus describes in John 8, verse 44, Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar, and the father of it. Numbers 35, verse 17 to 19 states that murderers should be put to death. The blood avenger himself will participate in the execution. This will occur when the two of them meet. When Christ, our kinsman redeemer, returns to earth, he will meet the destroyer face to face, bind him for 1,000 years, and then loose him for a short time. Then, acting as our blood avenger, Jesus will bind Satan and cast him and his angels into the lake of fire, where they will be tormented for eternity. Matthew 25, verse 41. Satan and his minions are guilty and won't ever be set free. God is just. Scripture repeatedly tells us not to take vengeance on others, nor return evil for evil. Instead, we are to love our enemies, to do good to those that despitefully use us, and turn the other cheek. All this is true, but we still need the protection of the law. 1 Timothy 1, 9-11 says, Knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and for sinners, for unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and mothers, and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine, according to the glorious gospel of the blessed God, which was committed to my trust. One of the primary purposes of law is to protect us. Laws should restrain man's ungodly behavior. Still, some people commit horrible deeds, often hurting innocent people, and never get caught by the police. Will they ever be brought to justice? Yes, our kinsman redeemer is a righteous judge who will execute judgment on all. Jude 15, Romans 12, verse 17 to 21, and I'll be back with part 6.